What's up, guys? Brett Okamoto from ESPN, joined by Bellator featherweight Aaron Pico, who is a couple weeks removed from a very impressive win against Adley Edwards at Bellator. What was it, 277? Do I got that number right?
I think so, or
There's so many
279, something like that.
so many events, man. I can't get the numbers straight, but I think it was 277. It was in San Jose. I know that. Like I said, a couple weeks removed, man. How long does that high of like a win stay with you? Like, you still feeling it 2 weeks later?
Yeah, I feel really good. I feel obviously happy because I won, but I'm just trying to keep myself busy because you're so used to training for something. So usually after a fight, you go through, kind of a funk. But I'm, like I said, keeping myself busy. I'm running a half marathon on Sundays, so I'm really excited for that and just trying to stay in shape and work towards something. But um, yeah, because the come down can be kind of rough sometimes because you're just, like you said, so high, you feel so good, especially with a great performance, that you just don't want to just go to doing nothing. So I'm just trying to keep myself busy. Obviously, I got my horses and always down work at my house, so I have plenty to do. So, but it
Yeah.
was a good night for us and our team, and I'm so happy that we came out with the victory
Where's the half marathon at?
at the Albuquerque Zoo.
Okay.
Yeah, like we called Run for the Zoo. So um, before this fight, I was just like, thinking, because after a fight, like it really is a real thing. It's kind of like a little bit of a depression to be. I do it. I'm not ashamed to say it, but I get
Really?
kind of like in a funk. I just get into a funk. Like I've been training for so long, and especially in a training camp, and you're so focused on a goal that after a fight, you're just kind of like, what do I do? And of course, my horses are there for me, but it's not the same as training for something. So I was talking to my coach Calavita, who's obviously a big triathlete, and I said, I just want to maybe do I don't know the right terminology, a half triathlon, or do like a half marathon just to keep myself busy. And he says, I think it would be a great thing for you after a fight to stay in shape, keep you motivated. And so I was just looking on the internet. I said, where's the next like half marathon in Albuquerque? And then it said to Run for the Zoo. So I said, I'll sign up. So it's
That's
this.
great.
I'm excited
Wow.
for it. So Coach Cal gave me like a little plan of what to do, because he doesn't obviously, because he knows how I am. I'll try to kill myself to do the 13 miles and try to win it. So I have to look at the text message. He wants me to do it in a certain time, and like I said, not try to kill myself. But I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I've done one, and I was only concerned about finishing it. I did not care what my time was. So you're
Yeah,
you're already going on under a different expectation than me.
yeah,
That's interesting, man, to hear you say that, like, after a fight that you're down, and that, like, I mean, it does make sense that, like, you put so much of yourself into like one certain event, and then the event's over. Like, are they keeping you busy enough? Like, do you wish that you just booked more fights so that, like, you could just kind of hop right back into a camp? Are you having too long in between fights?
no, I don't think so. Or you know what? I want to stay busy, and Bellator will keep me busy. I obviously now I'm doing good on a good win streak, and they'll definitely keep me busy. But this is just in general for me. I mean, even when you win, you just go through like kind of like a weird period of time. I don't feel that now because, like you said, I'm keeping myself motivated and staying in shape. But I think that Bellator has always been good about giving me fights, and I don't see them, shelving me anytime soon. So
Yeah.
I'll be good.
What's like ideally for you? Like in a perfect world, how many times would you fight a year?
I think 3 to 4 is perfect for me. Yeah, I think that's really good. God willing, I stay healthy. Like for me, this time I have no injuries, no nothing, not even nothing. So I can fight as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Now I'm in a really weird position, not a weird position, but I want to start getting close to that title, and taking, guys that are ranked, and not everybody's available. I know there's some guys waiting. They're probably going to be a rematch with Pitbull and AJ. So things are kind of up in the air right now. But for me, just stay focused, keep getting better, and I know that my time will come.
I feel like you're no stranger to having sort of your career up in the air in terms of like what's the right fight for you. I feel like that's kind of been your entire career. Like, what is the right fight, you know?
Yeah.
And now you're on a nice win streak. You've got experience. Like, when did you kind of decide that, like, okay, I've got like a steady foundation under myself. Like, I'm not rushing anymore. I'm ready for like the ranked guys. Like, when did that settle in for you?
Well, the 2 fights ago, fighting Justin Gonzalez. I mean, he was 12-0. That was a big step for me. Tough guy. Then getting ready for Jeremy Kennedy. I mean, I was like, man, it's a guy that's fought in Volkanovski. He's fought in the PFL. This guy is a really tough opponent, and I was really, really excited for it. But I think now I'm starting to come into my own as a martial artist. I feel very happy with everything that's going on personally, and my management, my coaches. I think everything is clicking, and I'm starting to get that confidence in my ability. Before it was a little bit difficult. I knew the expectation for me. I knew what people were wanting to see, but I just wasn't confident in myself just because I just lacked experience. But now that I have that under my belt, it's a great feeling going into a fight, and I know that I can beat anybody in the world, and I truly believe that with the right training camp and with everything going on, I feel I can beat anybody in the world. I truly believe it.
Yeah, so you were feeling that because it was supposed to be Jeremy Kennedy, and then he dropped out. That's why you fought Adley Edwards. So that was going to be, I mean, that was an interesting fight. That did feel like a step up in competition, and you just said that that was going to be an interesting test for you. As that fight was getting closer before it fell out, you were feeling like really, really good, or was any like did you have any doubt kind of creep in? Like, I don't know, am I ready for this guy? Like some of those earlier doubts that you had, like against those expectations, those high expectations that you had.
No, I felt really, really confident going into this fight. This training camp was really, really good for me. I actually, I mean, I'm not gonna lie now, but this was the toughest training camp of my life, to be honest with you, Brett. I got sick like 3 times. I had some, my back was hurt for a while, but I had to go to California to do hyperbaric chamber treatments with Coach Calavita. So I had to really dig deep for this training camp, but I'm really happy that I went through it, because it's just like it's grooming me to be a great champion. But as far as being like nervous for him, I'm always nervous, but I was confident that I was going to be able to push the pace and get the W.
Mm-hmm.
But now looking back as a whole, this fight was really, really good for me. Before the fight, I actually had to go to the hospital. I flew in to California. And I had a really, really bad ear infection, like super, super bad. And I had to go to the hospital on the week before the fight, and the doctor saw me, I had a double ear infection. So it was horrible. I had really bad pain in my ears, even leading up to the fight. I couldn't even hear my coaches, and started to clear the day of the fight. But I'm happy that I went through it, because it's all a learning process. It may happen again, and something may happen when I'm getting ready to fight for a world championship or whatever. But I think it's grooming me to be an even better fighter, better world champion. So I'm happy that I went through it, and to put on a performance like that makes me feel good.
Now that we're talking about kind of just like confidence and just how you're feeling before a fight, and I know you've talked about this before, but now you've had like years. You're a different person. Like, you've matured. What can you tell me about like when you did walk into Madison Square Garden for your debut, and you were like, ESPN.com front page, is this the best prospect ever? Like, Madison Square Garden fighting a guy who was like, Zach Freeman was like 30 at the time, wasn't he? He was like a 30-year-old. You were
at 55
at 155 pounds. Yeah. Like, when you walked out to the cage that night, like internally, what was going on?
Brett, I'm telling you the God honest truth. I wasn't nervous, and I didn't feel anything. And that's what's the scary thing, is just because I knew that I just wasn't what the expectation of me, I wasn't there. I knew that I could be a great champion and a great fighter, but I just knew I wasn't ready. Now looking back, I wasn't nervous. I was just kind of like, I want to get this over with, because it felt like it was so much pressure. Now that I think about it, it was absolutely insane. It was really insane. I don't know if there's a lot of people that can bounce back from that, because it was brutal. It was very brutal, but I can only just look back and laugh now and just say, man, I've come a long way. Because, man, I just knew nothing. I absolutely knew nothing. I knew how to box and wrestle, but this sport and MMA is just a whole different beast. And the fighters know what I'm talking about. It's not as easy as people think. Oh, like for me, I can just box, I could wrestle. There's just so much that goes into it. And that walk, I was just, I couldn't even be nervous, because like I was just like what I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen. I have no idea what's gonna happen, and it's all good. It all led me to where I'm at now. It made me, a stronger person, and I just smile and say, "Damn, what a comeback I did for sure."
For sure. Yeah. And you look so comfortable in there now. I think that's what people are like noticing about you. Like we've always seen like the speed, we've seen the power, but now it's just like the decision making, and it's just like the comfort level, like you can see that like the experience is showing in your fights. Like especially when you're in the pocket, man. Like I was curious when I was watching that fight, like do you spar a lot? Because it just seems like you're just so comfortable in these exchanges. Is that coming from sparring, or is that like how are you guys fine tuning that so much? Because you just look so comfortable in those moments.
Yeah, I spar 2 days a week, but I think Coach Gibson and I, the striking, we just do a lot of combinations into shots, and we just have a lot of entries, we call them. And I think it's just time in the saddle. Basically, I'm just spending so much time learning to be a good martial artist, and the thing is I'm having fun in there, and I'm enjoying fight week. I'm just enjoying everything as a whole. But I'm not like, I know that I can get hurt. I've been knocked out, so I'm trying to just, if you notice in the pocket, my hands are up. I don't for 1 minute think like, oh, I can't get hurt or I'm invincible. I know that there's a lot of things that could happen. So I'm just trying to keep my hands up, be smart. And one thing, obviously, I take a lot of shots and take a lot of people down, that my combinations need to be fast, crisp, and I can't just, when I throw, I have to throw with authority. I can't have any hesitation, not in MMA, especially with these small gloves. You don't have time to take one.
So before the fight, news comes out that you signed a new contract with Bellator. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
You talk about it. Like, where were you in terms of, first of all, was that still your first contract on Bellator? Were you still on the first one?
Yeah, I was still in my first contract with Bellator. And so now I have a new deal. It's a multi-fight contract, and I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with Bellator took very good care of me. Scott Coker and Mike Hogan and just everybody at Bellator. I'm really happy with it, and it makes it much more exciting to go out there and put on the best fights you can possibly do, especially when there's an organization that's behind you and believes in you. And they've been with me since the beginning. They've been with me through the ups and downs. I mean, but not one second I thought they were going to cut me. They said, we know you're going to be back. It's just going to take a little bit of time, but we're going to work with you. So I'm really happy to stay with Bellator and help them grow as a organization. I think they're one of the best organizations out there. They love me. They love their fighters, and it's awesome. I'm really happy.
Yeah, it's got to be one of like the longest first contracts ever signed. It was like what, 7 or 8 years long by the time that it was over. Well, how close was it to being done? Like how close was it to being expired when you signed your new one?
Yeah, it was getting close. There were some little details and stuff like that they worked out. I didn't really get too much involved with that. I let Ali do his job and ultimately did a really, really good job. So yeah, I can't say enough good things. It was just very, very smooth. Scott, Mike Hogan, and Ali just, very, very cordial negotiations. And now we're here. So very, very happy.
What did you want out of this contract? Obviously money. Everybody wants money. But like what did you want in this current contract?
Well, I think I just wanted to grow with the organization. I want to, obviously they took care of me with money and things like that, but I want to help grow this organization to be recognized as one of the best in the world. I feel we have the best 145ers and a lot of the best fighters in Bellator. And I want to go out there and prove that, just put on great fights and have a lot of people tune into Bellator. I think they're very capable of doing that. I have a lot of people come up to me and like, man, I love Bellator, and they're putting on great fights. And I think that they're headed in the right direction. Scott is a guy who's very, very open-minded and is willing to do a lot of things. And I know that I'll be flexible. He'll be flexible with me as far as fighting in MMA. If I want to box, I think that I have dreams of boxing. Mm-hmm. And I think that would be a really cool thing. And I know that Scott wouldn't hold me back if I said, hey, Scott, do you mind if I do a boxing match? And I think that's a really cool thing that being with Bellator, they would allow me to do that. So but I'm just excited to take this new journey. It's a new journey, new contract, and I'm all open for whatever Scott has in mind, and I'll be ready to do whatever. So it's an exciting time, and I'm going to stay healthy and put on the best fights I possibly can.
Yeah. I mean, listening to you talk, is it like, well, maybe if the chips fall right, I could possibly box? Or is there like, you feel pretty confident you're going to box at some point during this contract?
I think I'm pretty confident that I'll box. I haven't really discussed it too much, but I've discussed it in the past, and it's always been a green light. One thing that I've been saying, and I think it would be really, really cool, that Jake Paul is under Showtime, Bellator is Showtime. So I've been just saying it, that I would love to fight on an undercard, just to get my feet wet on a Showtime Jake Paul fight. I think that would be awesome. So if I get that opportunity, put me on the undercard and just put on some boxing gloves, step in a ring, and like I said, get my feet wet. I would love to do it. And hopefully, Scott can make that happen. Jake Paul, if you're listening, put me on an undercard. I'd love to fight, and I'd love to fight anybody that you think I can fight. And one thing about me, Brett, is that I can box. I really can. You go ask Freddie Roach, you go ask some of the world champions that have just won world championships. They know that I can box, and so I know that it wouldn't be like a circus or one-time deal. I definitely would be legit. So it would be fun. But
yeah,
hopefully,
we'll see. So you obviously have some admiration for what Jake Paul's doing over there. You like what Jake Paul's doing.
I do. I really do. And I'm not gonna lie. Whenever Jake Paul fights, I mean, we have barbecue, we get together. Yeah. I think it's entertaining. Honestly, yeah. I really do. And I've actually won a lot of people some money, because they're like, "Oh, do you think Jake Paul beat Ben Askren?" Yeah, I think so. And they've put money, and I've won some money. And Tyron Woodley, I loved MMA guys, but I knew that Tyron was gonna lose. Jake Paul is, from the beginning, I knew that he was. I mean, a lot of people don't know that they used to wrestle. They're used to wrestle, so they know about work and things like that. Yeah, it looks like some of the antics. I know, I get it, but he's ultimately getting people paid, and yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. We throw a barbecue, have a good time, and I tune in. So, and there's a lot of people around town that tune in. So he's obviously creating some buzz. So yeah, hats off to him. He's making money.
Yep. I mean, I know you've been asked this as well, but it's like, now it's like, maybe when you were asked before, it was almost too early to answer. But now you're starting to get into this situation where, like, what does the next couple of years of your career look like? Like, if you do start fighting the rank guys, then AJ's right there, and what? Again, you don't really have to cross that bridge until you get there, but. Yeah. Like you're a smart guy, and like you like to think about, I know you look at this as a business, and you're in it to make as much money as possible, obviously. So like, of course. Like what do you think is like the path? What is the trajectory for the next 2 years for you?
I think I'll be Bellator world champion. I truly believe that, and I wouldn't be training, I wouldn't be doing anything if I didn't believe I was going to be world champion. I believe we will be Bellator world champions. Right now it's kind of up in the air when I'll fight for a title, but make no mistake, when that phone call rings for me to fight, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be ready.
Mm-hmm. So, but unless AJ's there, right? You and AJ have made it clear over and over again, correct?
Yeah, well, he said it time and time again, and I've talked to him that he's moving up to 155. I mean, he may have one more fight at 145, and then he's up to 55. So that's always been the message to me, and we've made it very, very clear that if we do want to fight, it would be definitely for some crazy big money. We're not dumb in that aspect. Like, oh, if they offer us big money, like, no, if it's life-changing money and both our families are taken care of course, we'd be stupid not to. But as of right now, just going in there and fighting each other, it doesn't make sense. I think there's a lot of guys at 155 he can beat. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have to kill himself to make 145. And we'll have to cross that bridge when I'm saying, but I don't see him staying at 145 very long.
Mm-hmm. And then maybe even more long-term, man. And like, this might seem like a silly question because you're 25, you don't need to figure out everything you want to do. But again, you're like, you treat it as a business, and you understand the industry, and you understand the different, what the landscape looks like, What do you want for your career? You want to be a long-time Bellator champ / maybe get into boxing? Maybe like, do you have ambition of actually winning a championship in boxing at some point? Something that really hasn't been done other than Holly Holm. you know, UFC, obviously the fans are going to come to you and say, like, is that a goal at some point? Are you going to fight in the UFC? Like sitting here now, and I know you don't have to have it all figured out, but you want the biggest career. You want, you know, you have the biggest profile, the biggest fights, all the money. You know, for you, what do you think that looks like?
Of course, I want to be recognized as the best fighter in the world and put on the best fights possible. Jump into boxing, get some boxing fights in. I definitely believe I can make some noise in the boxing world. I just need the platform and the opportunity to show that. But Brett, to be honest with you, it's just one step at a time. I just re-signed with Bellator. I love being with them, and Scott, and everybody's really taking care of me. The people behind the scenes that you don't really see love me. I feel like it's a big family. So I'm just gonna take it one step at a time and see where it goes. But I would love to be Bellator world champion, defend my belt, go into boxing, and who knows what the future holds. But the only thing that I can do is control what I can control, and that's live the right lifestyle, make sure I'm healthy, and focus on being the best martial artist in the world, and be prepared to fight the best guys in Bellator and whoever they throw in front of me. And that if I can control that, stay focused, don't get sidetracked with other things, I know my career will when it's all said and done, people will be like, man, that guy was one of the best fighters that ever walked the planet.
Yep. Last thing for you, do you watch like quite a bit of fights? Or you kind of, I mean, you're watching Jake Paul fights. Are you watching everything else?
I do. I try to watch as many fights as I can. I love barbecues. I love anytime I can have an excuse to have a little barbecue. I'm watching the fights, and sometimes I miss them because I'm out like all day Saturday riding horses, chasing cattle, and things like that. But I try to watch all the fights for sure.
Let me ask you this, man. You told me before you even had a professional fight that how much you loved body shots, and I'll never forget that, because then like throughout your entire career, I've just like watched you land these body shots, and I think like I'm having even a hard time. I was thinking about it earlier, like who throws body shots like Pico in MMA? Who if you had a list of fighters who throw the best body shots in mixed martial arts, and you're allowed to name yourself, who are the top 3 in the entire sport thrown to the body?
Well, I think the guy that comes to mind who's going to be very, very dangerous is that Ilias Topuria. Sorry, excuse my if I'm messing up his name. I think he's very, very good. Very good boxing. Got a good body shots. Secondly, I'm up there obviously in the top 3, so that'd be 2, and then the third, I think. Let me think. Oh man, that's a good. I think Justin Gaethje's boxing is very, very good. So I would have to, go with Justin Gaethje. But as far as like left hook body punches, I would have to really sit down and think about that. I can't think of it on the top of my head. But the one guy that comes to mind is the Spanish Georgian Ilias.
Yep.
Very, very good. Very, very tough, and he's gonna be a legit problem. I study him a lot. I try to study everybody.
Yeah, he's solid. But isn't it crazy that like we can sit here and think about the entire sport? And I'm like, I just like, who throws devastating body shots? Like, you might be the best guy. You might be the number 1 body shot thrower in MMA, which is pretty wild.
I think I'm the number 1 body shot puncher in MMA, hands down.
There you go. Yes, finally say it. I know you're a humble guy, but I think you might be too, man.
Yeah, 100%. I believe I am the best body puncher in MMA for sure.
Well, you're always exciting to watch. Do we have an idea of when we might see you next?
I think like August. I would like August. If sooner, I can be ready sooner, but August would be great. We'll see. We'll see whoever they have in mind.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.